Welcome back to the Most News in the Morning. President Obama meets tomorrow with credit card company executives, and he's expected to push for protections against industry practices seen as predatory. Congress is also on the case. New Jersey Senator Robert Menendez is sending a letter to Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner this week asking for help. Among other things, he wants to prohibit blanket rate increases, also end what's called universal default, which could bump up your rate on one card if you're late on another, and also require that penalties and other fees be tied to their actual costs. Senator Menendez joins us now from Capitol Hill. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Good to be with you, Karen.
It affects almost everybody watching. The average home with credit cards carries a balance of nearly $11,000. Have you gotten any indication from the Treasury Secretary that he will take action on your request?
I think we're headed in the right direction. The meeting tomorrow with President Obama and the credit card industry leadership is an important one. I think that what the bill that passed out of the Senate Banking Committee, of which I'm a member, was a very strong message that we are headed in the direction of greater consumer protections. It's just fundamentally wrong that there are so many booby traps and trap doors in your credit card agreement that put you as a consumer at risk. And with $1 trillion that we have collectively in credit card debt in the country, this is an issue that, particularly at a time when families are continuously struggling, that we just shouldn't see unilateral increases going through the roof for no good reason.
Yeah, although, as we talked about, as you just mentioned, these bills going through the House and the Senate, some of these have come up before and died. How do you know they have a real chance this time of getting through?
Well, actually, this is the first time that credit card legislation has gone through the Senate Banking Committee from the chairman in over a decade. So I think that's a pretty strong statement. And I think you hear a hue and cry across the country from constituents. I certainly do. I have one constituent who told me, look, I've been a perfect credit card payer. I've paid it on time, and they just raised my interest rates from 8 to 29%. That just simply is not acceptable.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting that some of the companies are defending themselves. Bank of America saying in a statement that 90% of their customers did not see a rate increase last year. They took bailout funds and reported total earnings of about $4 billion in the first quarter. But then they say they lost nearly $2 billion in the credit card division. Is there a danger that perhaps if a plan like this passes, the recovery may take longer? Some of these banks may struggle a little bit more to try to get back into the black?
Well, even before the credit card companies and the banks were facing these challenges, these practices were going on. And there's a difference between a credit card holder who either defaults and or is consistently late. There should be reasonable increases in that person. But for the wide universe of people who have not defaulted, are on time, and yet see their interest rates rise, it's just simply not acceptable. And finally, you know, in essence, as taxpayers, we're paying twice. We're paying once in terms of trying to help these financial institutions be solvent, and at the same time, we're paying in higher interest rates that have no rational reason to our particular performance.
The industry is also trying to say that they need to do this in some cases to make money. They say they're at a 20-year high for uncollectible debt and a 17-year high for late payments. So isn't there also some responsibility? I totally get what you're saying about jacking up these rates arbitrarily, but some responsibility on the part of people who are using, you know, credit and not paying and trying to stop relying so much on credit.
Well, there's no question that, you know, there's individual responsibility here. And there's no question that we have to be stewards of our own personal financial fate. But if I, for example, have an excellent credit card history, I pay on time, and in fact, I have no reason for my interest rates to be jacked up arbitrarily, or if I might be a day late on my electric bill because I was traveling, and you use that reason to raise my rate, something we call universal default, right. Or if you're over-soliciting my son and daughter who don't have the wherewithal to have really a credit card, and you're going after them, the industry has to be responsible as well. There is personal responsibility, but there's also industry responsibility here.
Hopefully you guys will get some action on this time. Senator Robert Menendez, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.